What a beautiful, bright, sunny day. I had to go find this shady spot here so that I could do this video. Otherwise, I'd be blinded by the sun, probably sweat rolling down my face. So, welcome. Welcome, seekers. Welcome to this video series that I'm doing on the Ascension of Kundalini. And the reason I'm doing this is I've been experiencing a full Kundalini awakening, and it's been nothing less than intense, dramatic, and both inside and outside of me has been through some pretty tremendous changes, and it's continuing to change. So I think from my experience, what I can share can help you if you're looking to get into maybe yoga or have a Kundalini awakening. You can kind of get an idea what you're getting yourself into. Or if you're already having one and you're looking for answers or tips and techniques on how to manage this change in this energy that's in your body, I think what I can share with you can be helpful. So in this first video, I'm going to share with you really what Kundalini is, like an introduction. I'm going to discuss with you what I did to activate it and what it feels like when it activates. What to expect. How do you know when Kundalini is activated? And I'm going to tell you that it's unmistakable. And there's all kinds of posts and stuff you can read online of people, they talk about Kundalini and they think they've had an awakening. But when I read some of their symptoms and how they're explaining their sensations, it's not a Kundalini awakening. This is unmistakable, you will know. So I'm going to share with you what to expect when that happens. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, Kundalini, what is it? What's this phenomenon? The word Kundalini comes from the Hinduism and Buddhist culture. However, you can relate Kundalini to other religions and other cultures, such as the Holy Spirit in Christianity, the spirit which rises up, connects with God, right? I believe in Islam, they call it the mother. It might be a different religion, but anyway, you get my point. This isn't just specific to Hinduism and Buddhism. However, this culture has developed over thousands of years a technology on how to actually experience and activate these dimensions within us. In a lot of other religions, I mean, they're great and profound but they don't, other than having faith, there is not a practice, a technology on how to actually experience these things. Some of us require faith, some of us require experience. It's just, I guess, human nature, right? We're all different. So if you're one of those that really need to have some experiences to really understand who you are and what you're part of, then yoga is the answer. And Kundalini is the key that unlocks that door to this whole spiritual realm, okay? Now, Kundalini, think of it this way. When you're being conceived as a child, as a baby in the womb, there's a biological process going on that's, developing your cells, which in turn develop your body and everything else, right? Well, there's an energy that's making all those things work. And that energy is Kundalini. Kundalini is that same energy that drives the seed to germinate and become a tree. Now, yeah, there's genetics and DNA and all those things that basically are the program that tells it how to develop. But the power that comes in, the power cord to the computer is Kundalini. Now, when you're being developed as a baby and you're born and then you're developing, as a young baby, you at some point become aware. You become conscious of the self, the body, and you develop this program that says, oh, this is me, this arm is mine, these eyes are mine, what I see is my consciousness or my awareness, okay? What I hear, what I taste, what I smell, this is all my experience. You become self-identified. When that point comes, Kundalini is done. It goes dormant and it basically locks itself away. So what a Kundalini awakening is It's reactivating this energy in a way to upgrade ourselves, upgrade our consciousness. Not only does it expand our consciousness, but it also heals the body in many different ways: physical, emotional, psychological. Now, I'm not going to get too mystical and the beliefs about Kundalini. I'm just going to explain to you what I've experienced and what it's done for me. Now, how I activated it. So, I need to warn you before you go ahead and say, hey, this sounds interesting, I'm going to go ahead and activate Kundalini. Well, let me tell you, think of a machine that runs off of 100 amps. It's designed for 100 amps, mostly designed for 100 amps, okay? If you go ahead and plug an amplifier or a higher power source and you jam 400 amps into that machine, what's going to happen? You're going to fry something, right? Some things are going to break, they're not going to work properly, right? It's not going to work right. Well, your body's very similar to a machine. Your body is normally working on a certain amount of energy that, runs your organs, your brain, your physical activity, all those things, right? Well, if you go ahead and triple or quadruple that energy level, it's going to do some pretty intense things inside of you. Okay, we're talking physical, emotional, and psychological. It's all going to happen when Kundalini awakens. Okay, so if you're relating your body to a machine, and when all that extra energy just blasts through that machine, not only is it possibly might damage some things, but you're going to notice that the machine acts differently. You might find yourself a stranger in your own home. You just change. All of a sudden, you're not interested in things that you used to do. You don't like talking to people that you used to talk to before. Conversations that you used to have just don't appeal to you anymore. You lose your desire for things. All this is part of the awakening, all right? But if you're unaware of that, it can be traumatic. And in some cases, people that had Kundalini awaken, an accident, maybe from a traumatic experience or an accident or something like that, they didn't know what was going on. They just had all these things happen and unwind inside of them. And next thing you know, they're seeing psychologists, they're getting prescription drugs, and in some cases in a mental house, right? And we all know what prescription drugs and things like that do to the body. It just makes things worse. It might numb some of the symptoms, but not only can it cause addictions, but cause other ailments within your body. It's things that you can even transfer to your children, if you get pregnant or something like that. So this is a very natural process, but it needs to be taken with caution. And don't take that lightly, okay? Spend more time maybe understanding what you're about to get into if you're seriously thinking about a Kundalini awakening. So I'm going to help you a little bit right now and tell you that you really need to get meditation down, and yoga. Yoga and meditation are the same, by the way. Yoga facilitates the body for an effective meditation. So you need a yoga routine, a consistent routine, to prepare and align your body to handle this energy. You need an infrastructure that can handle the power, okay? It's handling the power that you have now, but you're about to introduce it to a lot more power, so you need the infrastructure. But having the proper foundation and infrastructure is key, okay? Now, what I did is, once you're at a point when you're meditating and you're able to, quiet the mind and control the mind. Okay, now we have this thing called the monkey brain. This is the first major hurdle in meditation, eliminating the monkey brain. This is that chatter, the compulsive thoughts that just keep coming and coming. It's like a bee, going from flower to flower. It's like your brain going from thought to thought. And it prevents you from getting into a meditative state. So a meditative state is really detachment from all the senses. And if your mind is going, it's manipulating all those senses when it goes, the thoughts. So that's why the mind is the first hurdle, okay? It's also the last hurdle, which we'll talk about later on. But the first hurdle is the monkey brain. And if you haven't got a handle on that yet, you need to get there before you start thinking about adding practices that will stimulate the region where Kundalini rests. The other thing is being able to sit, and this is where yoga comes in, being able to sit properly. You need to have an erect spine, a straight vertical spine. Now, we all have a natural curve in our spine. I had scoliosis, so I went through a major physical trauma when Kundalini activated because I wasn't fully, I just wasn't aligned properly. I had a lot of physical ailments that's been causing me problems for years, okay, and getting worse, which was all kind of what led me to this. But anyway, I didn't do enough yoga and enough, certain types of exercises to start correcting some of these areas. So Kundalini corrected it for me. And it's not forgiving. It doesn't take any prisoners, okay? So if you have structural problems, you've got to get those fixed and handled first. So one is you need to be able to sit on the ground with your seats bones on the ground squarely with your back straight, okay? 90 degrees, like this. And your head needs to be sitting, resting on the top of your spine. That weight from your head, you got like a 12-pound head or more. That's a lot of weight. And your spine is perfectly adapted for that weight. But if it's not sitting directly on your spine, you get all kinds of problems in your neck and your throat, things like that. And it just starts pulling and causing other problems in your body. So if you're a person with back problems like I was, you really want to change your life, yoga will change your life, okay? If you have back problems, neck problems, things like that. And you might have minor problems that you're really not so much aware of, but they're affecting you in other ways, emotionally. Organ problems with your organs and things like that can be due because of improper alignments. So yoga is so important. I can't tell you how important it is to be able to sit vertically, straight, shoulders back, necks aligned with your spine and your head on top of your neck, okay? Just like you see, when you look at people doing meditation, okay? You need to be able to sit like that for at least an hour, okay? Now, you're not going to get there day one unless you're already, done these kind of practices and you're already aligned, and some people are just naturally flexible. I'm jealous of you. But it's so important. Otherwise, you're just going to have really intense symptoms, okay? And you're not going to enjoy it. And you're probably not going to enjoy it anyway, to be honest with you. But what happens is once you start getting past that first stage of yoga and that meditation, all of a sudden this whole world opens up. Once you get past the monkey brain, it's not an enjoyable process trying to wrestle with your thoughts and figure out techniques. Maybe you got to listen to a sound or do a mantra. But once you get past that, it's like this whole ceiling opens up and there's this whole world out there. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's an adventure, and you get this desire and this devotion inside of you that makes all the yoga and the meditation practices day after day, it makes it effortless because you're so excited about what you're going to find next. That's how I felt. That's how how my experience went. So I went through these really traumatic, physical, painful situations as I had this awakening start for over a year, okay? I still have a little bit, all right? But you know what? The results and what I see in front of me is so exciting and so profound, so beyond this world, that I'm willing to continue doing yoga every day. I meditate anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day on average, okay? And I've been doing this for a year and a half. So it's going to take a lot of devotion if you want this thing to go through. A lot of people have maybe stimulated Kundalini and it gets in their body and does some things, but then it goes back. It just never gets to a certain level. So in this series, I'm going to go through the whole level that I've went through, okay? And I'm still going through it, okay? But I'm at a very high point now, and I'm excited when I can share that experience when it breaks through. And when I say breakthrough, I'm talking about the crown chakra. So what I did is Kundalini is stored in the Muladhara chakra, which is the perineum. And the perineum is the region between the anus and the genitals. And that's at the base of your spine. So when you stimulate these two areas during meditation, it will agitate Kundalini and it becomes awakened. When it comes awakened, it comes out. It comes out through your spine. In your spine, there's this channel called the Sushumna Nadi. I might not have pronounced that right, sorry. But this is the channel that Kundalini needs to flow through. And again, if you're not aligned properly, can be a problem if it's not able to flow through this freely. It wasn't for me, okay? I had to go through a lot of pretty intense exercises and, to get this thing through. So avoid what I went through and get yourself aligned, okay? You can leave me some comments in that if you're looking for specific, advice on what type of yoga or what exercises, things like that. I can be helpful there. Again, I can be helpful for what worked for me because I have specific ailments. You might have other ailments that you need to focus on. So now that's activating Kundalini, all right? There's a lot of different techniques. It's not that hard to do. And it involves breathing, pranayama, and stimulating these muscles in a certain manner. I'm not going to go into the whole actual practice. Maybe we can do that in another video. Also, leave me that comment if you'd like to see the actual meditation, Kundalini, technique. I'd be happy to share that. But once you've done this for enough and it becomes active and comes out, the sensation is unmistakable. Okay, some people experience a lot of heat, like hot, in that area down there, and it rises up. Or some people feel cold. I didn't feel hot or cold, okay? I felt a vibration, a strong vibration. And this happened after I had like a 4-hour meditation prior to this happening. And normally I'm like, clean, I feel just, my emotions are clean, everything's calm. That's how I normally feel after meditation. But this time, my mind was okay, but my body just felt like lethargic, just like I was tired and like dull. And so I'm like, man, I'm gonna go lay down. So I went and laid down, and within 5 or 10 minutes, all of a sudden I got this vibration just triggered right in that region, right at the base of my spine, right in that perineum region, okay? Very strange feeling, but very intense, okay? It wasn't just like, oh, I think I feel something. No, it's like, bam, okay? And it was vibrating. And I'm like, okay, something's happening. And I was already kind of researched this, so I kind of knew what it was happening finally. It took me about a month for to get this to activate since I started trying to activate it. And what happened is it rose up just slightly, and it felt like, imagine my arm is my spine, okay? And it just felt like a hand right around the very base, the beginning of my spine, lower spine. And it felt like a hand just squeezing, but it was a vibrating hand, like an energy hand. And what happened is it would squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and then twist and move up like one vertebrae. And it was just like really intense, and it's like, oh, and it just shocked my whole body every time it moved. And it was just squeezing really tight. Like it's just, it's like water going through like an old pipe that hasn't had anything go through it for a long time, and it's just clogged and dirty and all that stuff. And that water's just like trying to get through, boom, and it finally goes through. Well, it was kind of like that, except it twisted when it went up. And if you studied this at all, especially in Buddhism and Hinduism, Kundalini, they call it the serpent, the snake. Shakti, the goddess Shakti, comes up like a spiral up your spine, right? Okay, you've all seen that. And you can see that geometry, that geometrical pattern, that sacred geometry, you can see that all over the place, okay? Different religions, different cultures, occults, they all use it. Even the veterinarian uses it, right? So this came up. Again, it was vibrating. My whole lower back down there was vibrating. And it was just twist. And this twist and this movement up vertical would happen every maybe 10 minutes or so. So it wasn't like some quick dramatic thing. I've read other reports, stories of people saying they just had this boom, this profound, light came through. I didn't have that, okay? And perhaps it's because, I had all these physical ailments and misalignments and things like that. And maybe they've done years of yoga, and then when they did this thing, their body was already prepared for it. I don't know. I'm not going to say they're BSing, because I can only share with you my experience. I'm not going to comment or give my opinions on somebody else's, okay? Because everybody has a different situation. We have different attachments. We have different things going on inside of us, different things going on outside of us. So all those are factors in how this energy, how you respond, how your body responds to this energy, okay? So anyway, this happened probably over an hour and a half. You know, just the squeeze was always there, and then it just twist finally, and then twist, and it would come up one vertebrae at a time, and it made it all the way to probably, I would say, the top of, below the middle of my back. It didn't make it quite to the middle of my back, and then it kind of faded away, and it was gone. And I was just like, whoa, that was intense. What just happened? That was Kundalini. I mean, it's just unmistakable. And then the next day, you know, I went and meditated, and I get this pressure right in that spot where it ended. Building pressure, intense pressure, okay? And I'm going to explain to you the passing of Kundalini through your first 3 chakras in the next video. And when it activated was that first root chakra, right? The root chakra, and the next one, which is the chakra that powers your sexual organs. And then the third one, which is called your solar plexus, okay? That's kind of your gut, your digestive system, all those things, that energy center. So that's where it was stuck at. And so if you haven't subscribed already, definitely subscribe so you can get the notification when that next video comes out. It's going to come out real soon. And then if you found this helpful at all, please like it so I can get on the search engines, and we can maybe expand this out and find those other people who are seeking and looking for answers, looking for truth, looking for ways to change yourselves from the inside, okay? So thank you for sharing. Please comment any thoughts or feedback. I'd appreciate it, and I'd be happy to engage with you. Have a great day.